Good morning, everyone. We've made it out to Badu Island in the Torres Strait Islands. So I'm just gonna make a quick coffee and we're gonna get into it. But let me show you guys where I woke up this morning.
Young kumala, sweet potato. We call them urgubao. When you go hunting them leftover way they used to come out. We just dig them up, eat them raw.
You eat them raw.
That's how we survive everywhere we go.
Yeah.
We walk all this island around.
Yeah.
If you know there's a lot of kai here, there's a lot of food here, you can survive on.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people, the whole young generation, all the subjects, some of them know.
They don't know. But we know.
What a magical spot to wake up, hey? So yeah, Badu Island, we finally made it out here. It's been a long time coming. Planning this with the locals for over 12 months and I'm finally here. For now, I just want to get out here on these flats and go for a hunt while that sun's not too high in the sky and while my belly's rumbling. I'm pretty hungry, so I'm hoping I can get a mud crab or something out here on these flats. And I'm going to take you guys for a walk. But Badu Island, and I'll explain everything while we're out there walking. But Badu Island is in the Torres Strait Islands. The Torres Strait Islands have about 250 odd islands, maybe a bit more in this island group between the very tip of Australia. So Cape York is the northernmost point of Australia. Then you have the Torres Strait Islands leading up to Papua New Guinea. So the Torres Strait Islands actually used to be a land bridge connecting the two, and over millennia, that's changed to what is now this beautiful island group. And there's a lot of history here of like headhunting tribes and war between the islands and all sorts of stuff, which is really cool, and we'll get into that over the coming episodes. But for now, quick coffee, take you guys for a hunt, get some breakfast, then maybe we can make a fire and have a bit of a cook up and talk about the history of this place. There's fresh goanna tracks through there. Look at this. So I know the locals do hunt goanna here, and that's really fresh. That's last night because my footprint goes over my footprints. See that? You can see his claws where he's scratched the sand away as he walks. That's really fresh. But yeah, the locals up here on these islands hunt goanna for food, but I also know that they use the skins for their drums. So music, drums, to go with ceremony and dance and stuff up here is a really big thing. And there's no wallabies up here, so they can't use wallaby skins. So it's, what do they use? Apparently they use file snake, they use the goanna. And I think these days they do trade down south for wallaby skins. But here's the flats, guys. This is what we want to hunt as this tide pushes in a little bit. Hopefully some fish and some mud crab and stuff comes in with it. Badu is pretty special. It's located between the tip of Cape York on mainland Australia and Papua New Guinea, and it's one of the largest islands in the Torres Straits. Prince of Wales being the largest and Badu's neighbour Moa being the second largest. But Badu has the highest population, and I think it always did because of its rich soil and an abundance of fresh water. But that also made Badu a target. So Badu bred the fiercest headhunting warriors in the Torres Strait.
The word psycho, the word like, we were cannibalism, happening, Every now and then we eat another human maybe. If it was the only thing that we had around, Cannibalism was real here. No heads was money. You had to raid a village to make a lot of money. You can't just be going looking around for $1. I want $30. First $30 means canoe. That's 30 heads.
Yeah. So here in the islands, green turtle and dugong, along with, you know, crayfish and all sorts of fish, a big part of the diet out here. You know, there's not, like I said, there's no wallabies out here, there's no red meat. These days, someone let pigs go on the island a long time ago, so there are feral pigs and there are horses on the island. But this is a big part of the diet out here, it always has been. And we're going to see a little bit of that over the coming weeks, the coming episodes, and the way they cook them up here underground. And we'll hopefully get to talk to a few of the locals and get deeper into why it is such a integral part of their culture to be out here hunting turtle and hunting dugong sustainably. And we'll talk about those sustainability practices, trying to open some eyes here in Australia about this sacred practice. Oh man, look at these coconut trees. They're absolutely loaded too. They're not too high. Oh, those ones are hanging there too, ripe for the picking. But as you can see, there's a ladder there. There's like a stool. Oh yeah, there's a little camp up in there. I don't want to upset any locals, and I need to talk to Edmund first about ownership of coconut trees, like within their law up here. I'm pretty sure people they've claimed coconut trees, so certain trees belong to certain families, and I think they mark the trees, they mark the trunks, but I'm not 100% sure. And as hungry as I am, those coconuts look so delicious. I haven't had fresh coconuts in ages, but I'm not going to touch them until I get permission, find out who owns those coconuts. Hopefully we can just get a mud crab. So I really want to get out. I really want to like walk across these little channels here to that next flat. But there are saltwater crocodiles here. So yes, I'm out in the islands, and some of you might think there'd be no crocodiles out here, but there are. I've spoken to a lot of locals, and there's actually quite a lot of crocodiles out here. It's actually, the crocodile is one of the clan's totems out here. So it's believed that in Torres Strait Island culture, I think, but definitely in Aboriginal culture back on the mainland, that the totems, these animals out here, are actually the ancestors of the people within that clan group. So, you know, crocodile, for example, that clan group will not hunt crocodiles. They won't harm them. They're actually the protectors of those animals, and that's part of the sustainability practice, which is really cool. So some clans will be the dugong, some clans will be the tukmul, which is that big stingray, file stingray, and they won't hunt those animals. But yeah, because there's saltwater crocodiles, the sun's a bit sketchy. It keeps going behind the clouds, so I'm not going to cross through there. I'm going to walk around. But that is probably where the big mud crabs are sitting.
Yeah, like it's just over 100 years ago.
Been a lot changed, eh, in that short period of time.
Like it's like, you know, 1700s, late 1700s, early 1800s, you know, our people were still regarded as not discovered, you know. Some islands were still practicing their old ways. But, you know, Christians were very driven people. You know, they had the means and ways to give us the Bible. As one says before me, I heard, you know, they gave us the Bible and took the land.
It's risky coming in as headhunters.
You know, but we did not know, because we don't know the value of land.
Yeah.
We just used to think, you know, like,
Yeah.
how are you going to take the land from us? We're walking on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We didn't know this paperwork business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, like, we're going to put this flag here now, this is Crown land. Yeah, whatever. But in reality, that's how it worked out.
Oh, this looks really cool. So you can see the tide, the current is ripping through here. And then in this little pocket where these rocks are, the tide's actually pushing through there too. I didn't realise, I thought that was a little pool, but it must be an opening and the water's pushing through. And there's a bit of a channel through here, and there's a bit of a channel right here in front of me. So hopefully there's something bigger sitting in those channels waiting for bait and stuff to come pushing through. Now the Torres Straits is known for these huge currents, and that's why, you know, for hundreds of years now, as far as sailing goes, it's been such a treacherous place for shipwrecks. But it wasn't just these currents, it wasn't just the danger of that, it was if you do shipwreck, it was that the tribes on these islands were headhunters. So and the other thing is, they believed that white men were reincarnated spirits of their people, and this happened on the mainland as well. So pretty much any survivors that come onto an island would be killed almost immediately. There were a handful of, which I'd like to share with you guys over the coming episodes, there were a handful of exceptions for some reason, and we'll touch on that as I learn more about it. But because they were they thought that they were reincarnated spirits of their people, they wanted to kill them immediately to allow them to continue on their path up to their next life, or whatever their culture, whatever they believed, that, like, where those spirits were going. I'm not 100% sure yet, but that's why they would kill any white man who landed on these islands. And they were headhunters, so you'd be beheaded as well, and your skull would be kept. And I think they were like a position, like that would show your position, that would show your wealth in a way, your stature as a man. So it's a very, very wild place. And just looking at these currents here now sort of brought those stories up in my head, that you can just imagine even 300 or 400 years ago, like not that long ago, coming through this area, there's just reefs and islands everywhere. And like coming across on the boat from Thursday Island was like, it was very calm, it was nice, but there were just reefs everywhere that if you didn't know what you're doing, you're more than likely going to hit one of those reefs. The boys out here really know what they're doing. Look at all these rocks, the big rocks under there. I'm going to do that big lap quickly back to camp, grab a fishing rod and come running back out here before this situation here changes too much, because it looks so good for fishing. I'm spewing I didn't bring a rod out. Back into it, got a rod, got the slim twitcher, the spear I left down here on the beach, and I don't think the tide has changed too much, so we should be good. Oh, look at this. I walked straight over this morning. This here, these are all tiny little pippy shells by the look of it, but this is what you would call a midden, I suppose. Like normally they're much bigger, you know, but it's basically a place where Indigenous people here on the Torres Strait Islands, Aboriginal people over on the mainland, have sat for who knows. You know, you could dig down here and take a sample of organic matter within the midden and date it, but it could be thousands of years, where they've sat here after collecting pippies out there on the flats, all sorts of shellfish, and they don't break down. So it's a good indication of where a camp used to be, which is so cool to be here, standing right here in this spot where, you know, just to be able to feel that history. That's a part of what I do that I absolutely love. And I have so much respect for these ancestors who sat here and did this. It's so cool. I'd love to be able to sit with them and talk and learn more about this place. All right, let's do it. Come on. We go one. That's just a little Trevor. Now, really I should keep this for food, but I'm pretty confident there's some better fish in here. I reckon I saw a mangrove jack and a little coral trout, so I'm gonna let this guy go. I might regret this, but oh. Come on, oi, cod, I got a cod, that's the one. Oi, brook me, get out of there. Oh, get out of there. Ah! Ah, he was the one. Far out, he nearly pulled me off that skinny rock there to begin with. Oh. And then he just bricked me into that, there's like a little channel in there, he took off in there and I could feel my braid rubbing on the rock. Alright, let's get back out there. That was a tasty one. Those cod, everyone says you don't want to eat cod, but when they're fresh, they're like coral trout. They're delicious. I'm starting to get real hungry now. You think I would have learnt my lesson putting fish back out when you're hungry, but I don't know, you just always think. You always think there's a bigger fish around the corner, bigger barra. Beggars can't be choosers. I'm starting to get real hungry. As you guys can see, that sun's high in the sky. These little Trevors I always like to put back, but when they're fresh, they're tasty. If you're gonna make a curry, they're great meat. So I'm gonna put this guy on the coals. Have a bite to eat. I really want to get to town and watch the grand final for the footy, so I don't know how long that's gonna take me to get there, but I need to get there. So, sorry buddy, you are lunch. Thank you, mate. Get your knives, wildreaches.com/shop. These things are custom made for your adventures, so absolutely epic knives. I'm loving them. They've evolved ever so slightly. You can see our stamp in there now. They've evolved ever so slightly with the missions that I'm doing, trying to work out, you know, like the better grip and the safety, sort of like you can get your finger in here to really lock it in, your thumb in the top to lock it in if you're pig sticking or something. You know, we've rounded that blade ever so slightly for skinning. But yeah, this is what it's up to right now, and I absolutely love them. So get your knife, wildreaches.com/shop. And talking about killing and skinning and stuff, you know, there's a lot of feedback online about, you know, turtles and dugong and fish and stingray, and, you know, I had things blocked on TikTok, for example, a video taken down about a stingray getting speared. But the video before that was a fish being speared, and it was in your face, and there was no issue with that. And to me, a life is a life. I'm so respectful and so thankful for every life that I take to sustain my life, whether it's a cute deer, whether I'm with the boys and they take the life of a turtle and it feeds me, or whether it's a small trevally. I'm thankful for that life, and I believe it doesn't matter how cute it is. You know, you're taking a life, and you should be respectful either way. So please know that I am. So when you see me take the life, or even all the boys that I'm with taking a dugong's life or a turtle's life, they are thankful, and they have their own way of paying respect to that animal, to their ancestors. And like I said, there's those sustainability practices as well. Anyway, let's go back and cook this guy up. Before we get too far into this series, let's look at a brief history of the Torres Strait Islands. So for thousands of years, different tribes called a select group of the Torres Strait Islands home. Yes, each island would have had a clan of fierce headhunting warriors that would protect their island and their families at all costs. And yes, the currency back in those days to buy seafaring canoes and things like that from Papua New Guinea were skulls. But these were beautiful, loving people, just like you and I. Kids would have been running the beaches, playing games, while their fathers and their uncles were out hunting. And the mothers, the grandmothers, the aunts would have been on the beach weaving baskets, laughing, preparing food and looking after the little ones. Just like you would imagine a beautiful, simple life. Spirituality and culture seemed to come above all else. And there were parts of their culture, parts of their spirituality that in this modern world we couldn't begin to understand, like telepathic sorcerers called the Zoga Li, and rituals around almost everything. Now, I'm not sure how far back this way of life goes, possibly back to the last ice age when the land was joined between Australia and Papua New Guinea. But what we can confirm is when this all seemed to stop, which was when the London Missionary Society brought their God to the Torres Strait Islands back in 1871. And just like on mainland Australia, these missions were the beginning of the end to that traditional life as these people knew it. The coconut is absolutely perfect for so many things as a survival tool out here in the bush. You know, what's inside the coconut, the meat is amazing. It's great to have in, like when you can shave it off and put it in different meals. It's full of nutrients, but the liquid itself, if you get it at that nice young stage when they're greeny yellow, it's just full of minerals and nutrients, and it's like a godsend out here. But also, using it once they're dried up for starting a fire, there's nothing better to take a spark than the coconut husk. Come on, baby. Come on, come on, come on. I'm just going to do one side at a time on this fella, rather than cover him up with coals because I'm in a rush. I'm going to keep the fire burning next to him there, and he's sitting on some nice hot coals, and then in a few minutes I'll just drag another set of coals out, flip him over and put him on the new set of hot coals, and then we're in with a feed. It turns out it's lunchtime, so breakfast / lunch, and you can see the seagulls out here picking away at the guts and the gills that I just threw out there on the flats, and it's just this circle of life, you know, like nothing goes to waste out here in the wilderness. Sometimes you feel guilty, like when you're hunting and you don't eat the whole lot or you don't take the whole lot with you, but nothing goes to waste, that circle of life. Alright, so I know this might not look amazing to all of you, but any fish, almost any fish, caught and eaten this fresh, this was literally 35 minutes ago I was out there, and cooked on the coals like this is absolutely delicious. It's got to be the best way you can eat fish. And to top it all off, we've got the Wild Reaches native bush salt here, which is all locally sourced ingredients. And I highly recommend you jump over to the website and get yourself one. Oh, I'm so hungry. This is going to be absolutely amazing. But I'm about to run out of battery, so I'm going to sit here and eat fish and then run into town, hang out with the locals, watch the footy, and I'll take you guys with me and show you all a little bit of the footy and what football means to the locals up here at Badu in the Torres Strait Islands. Oh, seriously, you guys have to do this. Such an amazing life experience. It's absolutely magic. It's so good to finally be out here on Badu. I want to say quickly, before I keep moving, a big thank you to everyone out here on Badu. Everywhere I go, I'll start by saying that everyone, I get so many messages from people, all the viewers saying like, how do you get welcomed in everywhere? And you know, basically like, we couldn't do what you do, you're so lucky, blah, blah, blah. And makes me think about it a lot. And I think it's just being a good person. Like I've got so much interest in, I'm so intrigued in Aboriginal life and in Torres Strait Islander life, in their culture. I have so much respect for their values, as in like spending quality time together to cook meals and go hunting, and you know, money goes into things like fuel to get out in the boat, to go for the hunt, to come back and cook it under the ground. As opposed to going to fancy things to impress other people. And that's just one thing, you know, spending quality time with your kids and teaching them these traditional ways. I just have so much interest in that, and I want to take those values into my life. So I suppose coming into these places with an open mind, an open heart, all the time in the world, and so much respect, allows me to come into these places. I'm welcomed in, and it never ceases to amaze me still that I am so welcome, and that's what I'm saying. I want to thank you here. I want to thank everyone here on Badu for making me feel so welcome. I've spent 2 or 3 days here now, and those 2 or 3 days I was actually sleeping at one of the locals' houses that I just met. You know, he said, "This is his camp here, Edmund," and Joseph took me to meet him, and he was going to bring me out to camp, and he's like, "No, you just sleep in my yard here." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'll set my tent up." And then that night, we're heading back there real late, and he's like, "No, you're not sleeping in your tent. I got my sister to make up a bed for you in one of the other rooms." So I've got my own room, my own bed, aircon. I've been fed everything from turtle to I haven't had dugong yet, but turtle and you know, fresh beef and crayfish and fish and all sorts of beautiful food. So thank you to everyone on Badu, everyone coming up to say g'day and you know, take photos and making me feel so welcome. And it's not just Badu, everything leading up to this point, you know, over on the mainland, everyone in Injinoon, Bamaga, Imagiko, New Mapoon, everywhere. I really appreciate you all, and I'm so glad that you're all happy with what I'm doing, and that's what drives me is your respect and knowing that I'm doing the right thing by all of you. So, all right, guys, I'm back. The GoPro batteries went flat, but hopefully you got to see all of that cook up with the trevally. I've got a little bit of energy. This looks like a kapok tree here. There behind me, you guys have all seen, I've spoken, oh, there's heaps here. I've spoken about the uses of kapok in the past. Hang on. Really cool tree. And there's heaps I've noticed, none here at the moment, but I'll show you in a second. Native apple trees, lots of native apple trees through here. So it's going to be really cool over the next few weeks. Interacting with the locals, you know, hunting on the water, foraging on the land, hopefully, and a bit of hunting on the land too. We should be able to come across a lot of the different things on the island that they can harvest, that they can forage, and we're going to learn a whole lot about, you know, living on this island life basically, and traditionally what it would have been like, the sort of things they would have eaten back in the old days before the barge was coming across here, before colonisation and mission days. So yeah, big walk ahead of me. I don't know how far, but I'm just going to follow this track. I'm staying at a locals camp up there, which is absolutely amazing, Edmund's camp. He's allowed me to camp there. So a lot of the locals have camps around the island, and then Badu itself, the community, is on the front of the island here. I haven't been around the back of the island yet, but apparently there's heaps around there, and I'm staying at Edmund's camp. Shout out Edmund, thank you mate for having me. It's hardly a camp, it's a bloody shack, it's beautiful. So I'm staying there, and he's just said, just follow your nose, follow this track. He said there's only one track, but I've actually just come across two. I think I'll just follow my nose this way. I can hear a boat out there too. Follow the track to town, and hopefully I'll get there and can watch the footy. This one here, this is the native apple tree. So you've probably seen in previous episodes where we were up here, and we're not here, but on the mainland, the tip of Cape York Peninsula, the northernmost point of Australia. In the wet season, in the build-up, these are fruiting. So I'm interested to see what time of year they come into fruit here on the island. I think it's twice a year, but we'll find out. We'll confirm that.
The Malayan apple there, and here on the Torres Strait, the closest fruit we have to the Malayan apple is the uzu. This one here. This is the uzu. Yeah. So we got a uzu there. It's also right across the Torres Strait. It's known as a lady apple.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, so that's a uzu there.
I think I've seen them in the bush.
No, that's kawai.
Kauai. Oh, okay.
They look similar. Kawai is sour, this one's sweet.
Ah, right.
Wow.
So Kauai has that big green leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They're good if you eat them side by side. The sour and the sweet, sweet and sour. Lovely. You eat it with roast fish.
Be great if we can find some just to snack on. That trevally was beautiful, but still a bit peckish. But what you can see there, more apple trees. Oh, there's a nonda plum up there. Is it? Yeah, that looks like a nonda plum. It is, but not in season. Another one here. There's heaps of nonda plums. What you can see behind me here is the fresh water that made Badu so special. Not just, you know, swamps like this, but there's actually apparently like running fresh water, little creeks and, you know, like little waterfalls and stuff. But that fresh water is obviously, as you've heard me say before, in so many of the spots that we find and camp at, fresh water is like a life source. It's so important for me when I'm out here in the bush, let alone for the traditional custodians of the land that I get to explore, their ancestors. Yeah, water's number one. Water, some food, and then some kind of shelter. But yeah, this water is why Badu had such fierce warriors. Talking about hats, shout out to Will and Bear. Thank you, Will and Bear, for supporting Wild Reaches for 5 years now. You guys are bloody legends. You've kept shade over me for 5 years, and whenever I need a new hat, you guys are there. So big shout out to Will and Bear. Thank you so much, guys. If you guys are chasing a hat, they're tried and tested by me up here in the harshest conditions. You just saw it fall off in the salt water. Doesn't matter. They're great hats, and great fit. They hold that fit. They're nice and soft and comfortable. I can wear them all day, every day for 5 years or more. I was wearing them before I got in touch with Will and Bear, so thank you, Will and Bear. For thousands of years, the Badu people have lived from the ocean that's surrounding them. So as you're walking around town, what you'll see in all the backyards is a preparation and an outdoor cooking area where a lot of that time with family and friends, that's where it takes place, cutting up the catch and cooking it underground. And that's another thing that I take from Indigenous culture is the quality time spent with family and friends, sometimes all day in these areas, under the mango trees, under the coconut trees, just quality time with your loved ones, preparing meals. And football brings the community together, doesn't it?
Yeah, football.
It's just one little thing of culture.
Yeah, that's good. Football is the happy occasions, you know. We see a lot of families that we haven't seen for years. You know, young ones coming up and get to meet our nieces and nephews playing in the team. Yeah, a good social occasion. You know, it's not, you know, the bad, you know, sadness or whatever when we witness the sorry businesses. You know, because usually families come together on sorry businesses, and like, we haven't seen them for a while. But
Can you explain what sorry business is? Most people.
Sorry business when we have funerals. You know, it's a sad occasion. We usually wait for like 2 weeks or something before the burial. But with football and the tombstone openings and the initiations and the 21st are happy occasions, and where we see a lot of families come together. Yeah, it's a hard one. We start saying that, you know, our people are dying younger than the white Australian. Like I said before, we're lucky we've thrown stone away from the water's edge. We have people that can easily change, adapt to any circumstances. You know, if it's something we can't deal with, we'll just say bugger it, you know. If we can control it, it's out of our control, we'll say bugger it, you know.
One more time, here we go. If you want to drink some coconut, if you want to drink some coconut, come to my home.
Guys, footy's over. Congratulations to the Panthers. You guys won. Shout out to Cape Stallions. You're all bloody good players. You're so good to watch. Wins are far out, mate. You're a pleasure to watch. So everyone else, we've got to walk all the way up to that far point. I don't know if that just blew out then, but it's a long way, which is perfect. We've got a couple of hours or an hour and a half of light left. The tide is out. There's a few mangrovey drains along here. Just walked past a big croc slide. We're pretty safe. And we're going to look for a mud crab. We've got a stick. We've got no dinner at camp. A little bit of jerky. But I'd love to get a mud crab, or if we get back with some light, try catch another trevally and do nummus. So I'm just going to scout these areas real quick. I think my best bet to get a good tasty dinner is going to be a fish and some nummus, as opposed to really putting in the time to go, there's fish in there. Pretty buggered. And that sun's going to come down really quick. It's gone behind the tree line here. So I hope you enjoyed this one. This is just the beginning. So between these two big rocky knolls here, there's like a flat area. And I've been told not to go in there, it's a sacred site. So we won't talk any more about that, but it's just, this is the world that intrigues me, you know, these people who are still so in touch with sacred sites and burial grounds from their ancestors, and, you know, finding middens here where ancestors have eaten. It's so exciting. Hope you guys are enjoying it. See you all next week for another episode. Stuff it. I can rest when I get back home. Got to make the most of this island life, so I'm gonna get back out there as quick as I can. Try to get a feed for dinner. I I can't stop thinking about nummus now. That one that Eli made down in Marpoon, Old Marpoon. I don't have all the ingredients to do that, but I can't stop thinking about that. Just got that taste in my mouth, I really want it. This will, the tide's way lower than this morning, so I'll be able to see what the rocks look like for when I fish it tomorrow and the next few days. Oh yeah, it'll be quiet, see if we can find a crocodile. Yes! First cast, and that lure had weed on it. I went straight into weed. That's a good sized cod, so that's going to do me for dinner and breakfast tomorrow. If I do this nummus, this nice cool breeze, I reckon it's going to last all night, and I'll have fish for brekkie. Oh, that's so good. That's taking the pressure off. I'm going to get back with a bit of light to spare. I'm not walking back in the dark, guys. I'm so stoked. I'm going to knock the fillets off him out here and let the frame go back and feed something else. How cool is that moon up there too? Look at that. Oh, what a night. I tell you, that couldn't have gone any better. I didn't realise I had that little amount of time, but first cast fish, knock the fillets off him, and then I'm going to get off this beach before it's pitch black, which is just great. I'll see you guys next week for another episode. You. All right, we'll quickly whip up this nummus because the mosquitoes are quite bad. This is basically, I'll show you a little bit more in the morning, but this is all I've brought with me. So a bit of coconut sugar, an onion, a lime, a little bit of white wine vinegar, which I hope, I really want white vinegar, but hopefully that works. I've got my fish, the jet boil, and I'm feeling very I just feel like a good cup of tea right now, but I don't have any tea, so I'm just going to make coconut sugar and water, boil it up and have a nice little sweet drink. So what are we going to do first? We've already chopped up the fish, chop up that onion. So if you don't know what nummus is, it's basically cooking the fish with the vinegar, with like the acidity of the lime and the vinegar. And apparently the lime or the lemon actually preserves the fish as well. So putting the lime and the lemon in should allow me to eat this fish for breakfast tomorrow morning. And then everything else I think is just for flavour. You know, the onion, normally you can put lots of stuff in there, coconut milk, go down that path like a nice sweet coconut path, or soy sauce and go down that path of like a nice salty one. I'm probably going to put a little bit of my Spice Origins, the Wild Reaches native bush salt in there as well, just to add a little bit more flavour. So I've just cut the fish up into tiny little cubes. Can you see that? Like just nice little chunks. And this is only going to take, that's the beauty of this, it'll take about 10 to 15 minutes to really start to, you see the fish start to change texture and colour, and then you're good to go. So you can leave it as long as you want, but you know, 10 to 15 minutes and you've got a good meal. A little bit of the Wild Reaches mix. Now, not too much of this stuff because it is strong. It's all organic, native Australian sourced ingredients, and that, so it's super strong. Right, we'll leave that for 10 minutes and I'll get my bed together, make a cup of tea, then dig in. Yeah, look at that. See, that fish has gone all white, so it's really started to cook through. So, as most of you know, you can eat fish raw, sashimi it's called. But so, you know, eating this like 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, it doesn't matter. It's fresh fish. I just caught it. You're not going to get crook, but I like it about that 10 to 12 minute mark, and then it's going to be even better tomorrow because it's going to cook right through. So here we go. First taste. Oh yeah. Oh, it's just so fresh. Yeah. It's that perfect combination of like a bit of sweet, a bit of kick in that vinegar. It'd be nice to have a little bit of chili. And then that tanginess from the lime and from the onion as well. Absolutely delicious. All right, everyone. I'll see you all next week. If you're liking this stuff, make sure you like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends. Follow us on Instagram, do all that stuff because it really helps me. I know everyone says this, but it really does. It helps me come out to these places and keep making this content and keep sharing these adventures and the amazing culture that I get to witness with all of you guys around the world. So please do that. Oh.